One.
Haribol. Jai Sripati Karshi Shri Guru Gauri Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pari Brajakacharya Astatara Satashi Shiman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pari Brajakacharya Astatara Satashi Shiman Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai, welcome to Sri Caitanya SCSMission morning class. Dandavat. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Chita Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribol. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, continuing to read Madhya Lila chapter 24. This is the middle of this very extensive purport to text number 330. And I'll read the verse now. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Mahaprabhu is Srila Sanatana Goswami at the conclusion of all these different interpretations and bringing out the meaning of the Atmarama verse. He's saying, you told me, you instructed me to write a book about the activities of the devotees, but I'm not qualified to do that. And here Mahaprabhu is explaining, your book should describe the characteristics of the bona fide guru and the bona fide disciple. Then before accepting a spiritual master, one can be assured of the spiritual master's position, not whimsically taking initiation. Similarly, the spiritual master can also be assured of the disciple's position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, should be described as the worshipable object, and you should describe the Bij mantra for the worship of Krishna, as well as that for Rama or any other expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have heard something here in the purport from Srila Prabhupada, and quoting this verse, I'll just read the last thing, the qualification of the disciple. And this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. The disciple must have the following qualifications. He must give up interest in the material bodily conception. He may retain that for some time, but he's determined. He must give up material lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. He should be interested only in understanding the science of God, and he should be ready to consider all points in this matter. In other words, he should become educated in Siddhanta. He should no longer think, I am this body, or this thing belongs to me. One must love the spiritual master with unflinching faith, and one must be very steady and fixed. The bona fide disciple should be inquisitive to understand transcendental subject matter. He must not search out faults among good qualities. He must not be more interested in faults than good qualities. And he should no longer be interested in material topics. His only interest should be Krishna, the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as the mutual testing of the spiritual master and the disciple is concerned, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that a bona fide disciple. Good morning, Dandavat. Prabhu, could you give me some warm water, possibly? Sorry. As far as the mutual testing of the spiritual master and disciple is concerned, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that a bona fide disciple must be very inquisitive to understand the transcendental subject matter. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tasmad Guru Papadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. One who is inquisitive to understand the highest goal and benefit of life must approach a bona fide spiritual master and surrender to him. A serious disciple must be alert when selecting a bona fide spiritual master. He must be sure that the spiritual master can deliver all the transcendental necessities. The spiritual master must observe how inquisitive the disciple is and how eager he is to understand the transcendental subject matter. The spiritual master should study the disciple's inquisitiveness for no less than 6 months or a year. He should know that this person is a serious person before he accepts him as a disciple. Sometimes a big businessman or landlord, Sometimes a big businessman or landlord may approach a spiritual master for initiation. Those who are material interest are called vishayis, which indicates that they are very fond of sense gratification. Such vishayis sometimes approach a famous guru to ask to become a disciple just as a matter of fashion. So the spiritual master is also looking at the qualifications of the disciple, that he's not just doing this for some frivolous reason. Sometimes vishayis pose as disciples of a reputed spiritual master just to cover their activities and advertise themselves as advanced in spiritual knowledge. So many things can be there. Even sahajiyas can approach a spiritual master. It's just a matter of showing off, having some silly motive. The words Savior Bhagavan in this verse of the Caitanya Charitamrita are important. Bhagavan indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu alone is worshipable. There is no need to worship demigods. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So there are many things here about worshiping the demigods. Many, many things in this purport. And I think it's a good thing to read over. This is the purport to verse 330. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. So on the other hand, those who do engage in full devotional service, they will very quickly come to a very high position of knowledge, wisdom, perspective, vision, everything. And ultimately, a real, actual affection for the Supreme Lord. In material consciousness, however, even one who is situated in the mode of goodness is susceptible to pollution by the modes of passion and ignorance. This is not a safe position. When the mode of goodness is mixed with the mode of passion, one worships the sun god Vivishvan. When the mode of goodness is mixed with the mode of ignorance, one worships Ganesh. When the mode of passion is mixed with the mode of ignorance, one worships Durga or Kali. The external potency. When one is simply in the mode of ignorance, one becomes a devotee of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance within this material world. And they're all sitting around smoking marijuana and thinking that they're worshiping Lord Shiva. It's a very common thing in India, but it's very, very inauspicious. However, when one is completely free from the influence of all modes of material nature, one becomes a pure Vaishnava on the devotional platform. As Srila Rupa Goswami states in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anya Bilasita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. One should render devotional service, transcendental devotional service, to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. So this is kind of a fine point, because we can all see, I'm still entangled in mundane consciousness some way or other, on one level or another. We can see that, but we are not mixing that with our devotional life. We can see that, but we're not doing something devotional in order to fulfill those kinds of desires. That will be very, very, very detrimental for us. It's offense, actually. So, through the process of devotional service, of hearing, chanting, understanding all these things, one can come to the platform of pure devotional life. But if he tries to mix in these two things, like taking a spiritual master for the sake of name and fame or some other material thing, this is not going to be actual connection with the spiritual master. And the bona fide spiritual master, after examining that person, or sometimes simply trusting those who are around them, that they're not doing that they have faith, and that they will develop love for their guru, who is giving so much to them. These are bona fide things. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service. Then one is on the position of Vishuddha Sattva. So there's a Sattva Gun, which is the mode of goodness, but that is not a stable position at all. That can easily be influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance and go different ways. But Vishuddha Sattva is the position of uncontaminated goodness. It's not tinged with some pride of being so good, or of this desire for the attainment of the heavenly planets, or any of those things. Then on that, and through worship of the pure Guru, one can come to that position. So one has to become a little serious to understand what is my position in my practicing life, and noticing, and with a goal that all these things will go, not mixing those in. On that platform, one can then understand Arajo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanay Astadama Vrindavanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Son of Maharaj, is to be worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavan. The word Sarva Mantra Vicharana in the present verse of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita means considering all different kinds of mantras. There are different kinds of mantras for different kinds of devotees. There is a mantra known as Dvadashakshara mantra, composed of 12 syllables, and there are the mantras composed of 18 syllables. Similarly, there are the Nishinga mantra, the Rama mantra, the Gopal mantra, and so on. Each and every mantra has its own spiritual significance. These are not mundane mantras being referred to here. There are thousands of mantras in the Vedas, but they are not transcendental. But then there are some which are really approaching the transcendental plane of absolute purity, Vishuddha Sattva, and devotion. The spiritual master has to select a mantra for his disciple according to the disciple's ability to chant different mantras. And that will be as he is progressing. Any question about that? But of all the mantras, the Hare Krishna mantra is the Maha mantra that is given in the Veda.
I have a question about what you said of being careful of mixing your tendencies with devotional life.
I'm glad you're asking this question because it was coming in my mind too that I must explain this a little better.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you could, elaborate on that too.
Did you want to say something more about that? Okay, so, what I'm talking about is motive. Those things are there all the time, but what is my motive? Am I using my devotional practice to get some material gain? Or my relationship with the spiritual master? Is that why I'm doing it? Do you follow? But so when these things are coming up, by dint of the divine environment and by hearing about these things, then we are very diligent to, no, not that. When the desire for name and fame comes in to my devotional practice, that we are diligent about that, or any other kind of material like motive for doing it. Our motive for practicing devotional life is devotion. But these other things will come in and we have to manage that. But that will not be my motive for doing that, for practicing devotional life. Do you follow? If that motive gets mixed in with my devotional practice, that's not my goal. In devotional practice is not my goal to have some material gain. Like if I do this, then somebody will think I'm a saint and give me some money. Do you follow? There's a big difference there. It's not clear yet.
It is clear, Devi. It's the motive behind the action.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important that that's not my motive in doing these things. And that when these things come mixed in, that we will be very diligent about that. That this is what my mind is proposing, that is disgusting to me. This is not why I'm practicing devotional life. I'm practicing because I want to become a pure-hearted, honest, dignified, noble human soul who wants to actually be a devotee, actually be devoted. That means without, some kind of tricky other motivation. That's a nasty life. So we want this pure life. That's our motive. And other things may come. I mean, we are who we are. We have to start somewhere. But we will be careful that that's not why I'm doing this. This may be a problem for me, and I have to manage it this way or that way or that way. But that's not my motive in practicing devotional life. So what's being referred to here is those who are doing this 100% for a material motive. That's why they're doing it. For name, for fame, for money, for followers, for women, for men, for whatever it is, all that. That's not why we're practicing devotional life. And that is something to always be on the alert for. And another thing is that the Lord is going to get those things out of us through the environment. And a lot of times through deep disappointment.
Can I make a comment? I was gonna say, there's sometimes where I'm like preparing an offering and everything, and I'll catch myself thinking like, oh my god, like
They are gonna think I'm
like,
amazing.
I know, I'm making this so good, and then like, and it'll turn out really bad. Or something bad will happen to it, I'm like, oh, okay. Or I like sit there and have to catch myself, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good, but who's it gonna be good for? And like, I'm doing it
Very
as a
good.
service,
Yeah.
not like, oh, I'm doing this because I want people to think my food is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon for any of us, right?
Exactly.
It's, I mean, you know, the mind is so wicked, actually. And we can even be talking about this and thinking, wow, that's a pretty good talk. Man, I nailed that. I know all about the false ego and how to give it up. I'm amazing. So, my Adhyakshena, Krishna's like, Devi, I can't think of the word. But Krishna is saying, this divine energy of mine, this delusional energy, you're not going to get out of this. You think she's so dumb? She's got you. She will be at every way you turn. She'll be there to test you. But actually she's my energy. And she's divine. And you take shelter of me, she will be so happy with you. You take shelter of me, I can take you out of this. But take you out of this in ways that you cannot conceive of. Full relief from this nonsense. Horrible relationship with existence. So he said, well, I'm not so sure that's what I really want to do. I mean, I got prospects, you know what I'm saying? It's like, prospects, what, are you kidding me? The lady's walking down the sidewalk with her prospects, and suddenly a car goes boom, and another car goes boom, and she's gone. That's what happened right here. And she's like, why am I in the tree? Why am I in this tree? Why am I sitting in a tree looking at my body? And even if we live to be 105 years old, still, it's only a few minutes, really. So what are we going to do with our life? So we have to hear every day. Always hear and remind the mind of what a dumb prospect it thinks is so important. That overall we must do many things in our lives. Maybe we have to make some money. Maybe we have to start a business. Maybe we have to have a family. That's not a problem. But for what? For something temporary or for something real? We don't even remember our family from our last life. We have no idea. Well, that, you know, these are the negative things, but they will give us some proper perspective on my relationship with everyone should be friendly. To make them, help them mutually to progress in spiritual life. Then I've had a real relationship with my family. That is on another platform. That is on a very different platform. And I'm working so hard, day and night. But for what? for my duty to my devotee family, for my duty to the temple, for my duty to mankind, and helping with the spreading of the holy name of the Lord, then that, every minute of that, is going to the divine plane. That is not on the platform of time. All of it is going, everything should be done with an offering to Krishna, with our best effort, and the results of that, he knows better than I know what that should be. And he wants what's best for me more than I want it. And he knows what's best for me more than I know it. And we will experience this through surrender. If we don't surrender, then we don't hear. We can't hear the Lord speaking. We can't hear what he's saying to us. We can't hear the message that's coming in the environment. Just closing our ears and going on with our foolishness and thinking, oh, this world is so hard. This world is so bad. I heard somebody saying, "Oh, you don't have any faith and the man said, "If you had seen what I've seen, you wouldn't have any faith either." But that's not the problem. We have a duty to ourselves to go on in our spiritual life. It doesn't matter all this, whatever else is happening. That's coming to my eyes as a lesson. It's all otherwise just down a hole and very hard to find your way out of it. Any questions about any of that now? So it's okay. We can go on and do what is natural for us to do. Krishna didn't say to Arjuna, it's Maya to be a Kshatriya. That's just Maya. Yeah, go to the forest. And because Arjuna said, I'm just going to go to the forest. I don't want anything to do with this. He said, yeah, you'll just go to the forest and find somebody to fight there. Because you're a Kshatriya. Do it for me. So what is my nature? I'm not trying to kill that. But there's certain things about, but Krishna will arrange that all the nasty parts of that will go as we're progressing in our lives. Any comment or doubt about any of that?
In those moments when we catch ourselves being fake, what can we do?
What was that?
When we catch ourselves being imposed by material desires, like when our intelligence is fixed on the sense of the objects.
Yeah.
And it's very strong.
Yeah.
It's extremely strong.
Very strong.
That even the idea of doing service in the proper mood is annoying.
Yeah.
What can we do in those moments?
Surrender. You've brought this suffering that I'm experiencing right now due to my previous tendencies. This is good for me. I bow down to you. I'm suffering now, and that is all my own fault. Tattena kampam shushmikshmano. Bunjane eva atmakritam. This is because of my own activities in the past. And now I'm suffering. Now I'm suffering. These things are banging on my door and taking away my peacefulness, making a demand on me, but that's my fault. And under those circumstances, I bow down to you, my Lord. I'm experiencing this suffering of this demand, and I bow down to you. This suffering is good for me. Let me tolerate it. Now show me, what is my seva? All of it. When Mahaprabhu was saying humility, tolerance means that my own wrong has made a necessity for my own rectification. And that is coming in the form of this environment at this moment, and it is good for me. I will tolerate that and let it purify me. Let that purify me. It's a kind of suffering. All the demands of the mind, all the demands of the senses. The foolish person thinks, yeah, that's good, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to satisfy that, and the fire gets bigger. And there's no end to it, lifetime after lifetime. There's no solution. It's only in sacrifice, in tolerance, that we can actually put that fire out. No fuel. No fuel. But we have to do that through surrender to Krishna, because even the great yogis and people like that who do, perform big austerities and that, they can conquer, they're doing that to conquer those things. But it doesn't stay that way. Any little thing will send you off course again. The real solution is in surrender to the Lord. He is the Lord of Maya. But not for the sake of getting out of Maya, but for the sake of surrendering to Him and letting Him decide what is good for me. But I don't even know what it means not to be in Maya. I don't know what that is. He knows what it is. I don't know. How will I do that? And the scriptures are giving prescriptions for all kinds of sacrifices, all kinds of penances, austerities, go in a ring of fire under the hot sun, and then you're just going to hate the sense objects. And people do that. I mean, very few, especially in the Kali Yuga. But even the result of that is not stable. It's in the same scriptures. You eat something, all your senses come apart. All your senses become strong again. That's why the tongue is so... But we're giving the tongue the lovely engagement in taking Mahaprasadam. It's the positive existence of a higher taste that will give the lower taste, make it uninteresting. Never, but that higher taste must be through surrender.
Yes. Can I ask another question?
Yeah, do you have a thing there? Or can anyone? So the questions that are coming are about, when these all kinds of material desires do come into our service, do come in and, make us just like, I don't even feel like doing this service, and I don't want to, I want to go out and do this and that and that. And of course, all these things can be accommodated gradually, but the main thing is surrender.
In the Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember what chapter, what verse, but it's about something that we almost must do, that is sacrifice, austerity.
I didn't hear the beginning of what you said.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna tells to Arjuna that sacrifice, austerity, and charity
should never be given up.
Should never be given up.
Right.
Because he's like the ones that eats all of it.
Yes, very good.
So now that you're comparing those yogis that are doing austerities to control and conquer their senses, we still need to do austerities, right? But how?
Austerity means today is Ekadashi, and you will not take grains. Or, if it is better for you, you'll not take anything. Our austerities are for the sake of Krishna. Those other austerities are for the sake of mukti, or punya, meaning some strength that comes from abnegation, getting some power. But austerity, charity, and sacrifice should always be performed for the Lord. And Krishna is explaining that, do all that for me. And the results of that, I will give you personally. And it will be the very best thing for you, with the highest prospect for you that you can't conceive of it. All of these things must be performed for Krishna, not for me, either for my sense gratification or for my liberation from the miseries of sense gratification. That is still material, actually. The four gains of human life are Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Moksha is one of them. Moksha means liberation. So if one is simply doing these austerities, charity and sacrifice, for moksha, dharma, artha, or kama, it is still material. And the results of those will not remain with a person. It's temporary. It is for me. I'm out of here. It's like, well, wait a second. Out of where? Did you make this world? It's not brilliant. It's not brilliant thinking. So, is that?
Yes.
Yes. So those are very important discriminating points. What was I hearing the other day? I'm gonna have to try to remember that. So when another very tantalizing tendency in the conditioned soul is to see, we just read this, to see in the midst of good qualities, to be looking for the fault. And that will also degrade us. Because when we are absorbed in the faults of someone else, not for like you may see some faults in your child or in someone that you're training, like a martial arts teacher, he's going to see the faults in his student. That's part of his duty. But it's not for his enjoyment. He's not thinking, oh, look at that guy. Man, what up? So we can see if we have some job to do, like you see your child has a tendency to lie or to steal or something. You have to see that fault, but it's for the sake of that person. But when somebody just enjoys seeing the faults, so when someone just enjoys seeing a fault in others, then that is really bad. You're eating that, Guru Maharaj said, especially if you make a comment, and not in a family way, just for teasing each other or something like that. That's not the same. But Guru Maharaj said that when you are praising the good qualities of someone, you are eating that quality. You will be elevated by that. But when you're eating the bad quality of someone, then you'll have that quality. That quality will come to you. So that's another point. That we are trying to improve ourselves so much, but not giving too much attention to others' faults, because that will all not be very helpful for us. It's not like we're blind. It's not like we can't see that something may be going wrong. And especially when somebody, as a practicing devotee, we are being affected by that fault, then we can discuss that with a senior person, a senior devotee who we trust, and how to manage that. That is important, actually. But it's not that we're enjoying discussing that. It's for a purpose of progress in spiritual life. Do you follow? So all these things are actually super important for all of us to try to deal with. And when we're many things, but in all cases, we are trying to surrender to the situation being brought to me by the Lord, and what shall I do under this circumstance? And it's not all the same. Surrender doesn't mean I'm going under the bed and sleeping for the rest of my life. There are many things that's come about through surrender. For Arjuna, it means lopping off heads. Krishna didn't say, surrender to me, and Arjuna's like, oh God. And he turns into a drooling zombie. It can bring out many, many different kinds of service. And we don't know clearly what that is until we learn to listen. What is the Lord teaching me through this circumstance? Haribol. So there's so much variety. Were you there at the Zoom of Madhusudha Maharaj on Saturday night? But you were there, right, Dave? So that story about I was mentioning, I don't think I explained this point very well, but in the midst of it, I was mentioning there's a story of an Alwar. So the Alwars, they all appeared in South India, and they were all residents of Vaikuntha. Very many great personalities appeared in South India. Ramanujacharya, for example, his disappearance is coming up, or appearance. But they were all great personalities, and they did amazing things. Maharaj Kula Shekhar, whose prayers we heard so many times here in the Prapanna Jivanamrtan, he was also an Alwar. They were all descendants from Vaikuntha and very powerful personality. And one of them was instructed by the Lord to build a temple. And I must look this up. I forget which temple it was. But I heard this talk, Srila Guru Maharaj talking about it. And then he was going around to all these rich men and asking for money for building this temple. And he wasn't getting any money. So he hired some thieves to steal the money. So a surrendered soul can be an interesting, I think, but we don't know what surrender looks like except by looking at those personalities. There's so much variety, you can't believe. They are all free from any kind of religious conception, although generally they are showing a good example to us who are practicing spiritual life. And we are also not going to make the mistake that I am avadut, that I'm free from the rules and regulations of spiritual life. But we can see in these extreme examples that the surrendered soul is doing many variety of things. But we are following some regulation to try to get a handle on our situation of full exploitation. Any comments or questions about any of that? That story is actually very astonishing. Haribol. So there are so many rules and regulations when one is in jail, right? Or in the hospital, recovering from disease, or recovering from some tendency to be a criminal, right? So, when there's a goal in that one is no longer have to follow those regulations because he's no longer sick. So there are examples that come to this world of those who have no rules and regulations at all. None, because they have no ill motive. Everything is done in surrender. And that's a really wonderful thing for us to contemplate. But that's not me. I have to follow some regulated life in order to keep progressing in my spiritual life in a safe way. So it's very wonderful to hear all these things. Any questions or comments? All right. So, Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai, Srila Om Vishnu Padesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Page 205 in the Prapanna Jivanamrtan by His Divine Grace, our Divine Master, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And now we're reading the Sri Sri Daita Das Dashakam. What does Dashakam mean, Haridev Prabhu?
Dashaka?
Dash. Dash means? Huh?
Something with servant?
Oh, Dasha. Well, Dash is a number. So, Ek, Do, Teen, Char, Panch, Sat. Anyway,
Is it 10?
it's 10. Yeah, Dash Avatar, the 10 incarnations. So Dashakam means there are 10 slokas, 10 verses. Or Astakam means like 8 verses. So now we're reading the 4th verse of this beautiful Dashakam, written by Srila Guru Maharaj, following the disappearance of Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. 4th verse is page 205 in Prapanna Jivanamrtan. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. The divine message sung by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Chandra had its continuous play in the ears of the people. From the ear did he, just to fulfill the purport of the name Nayanamani, reveal his form to the eye, making his advent in the mansion favored by the glance of Sri Nila Chalachandra at the time of the Rath Yatra festival. I'll explain this. O Dinanayana, wherever that great soul, Mahapurush, may be, please swiftly take this servitor there. So when Mahaprabhu appeared, his message played in the heart, in the ears of the people. And then from that ear came the form, that message personified, that form of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was born just on the road of the Rath Yatra. That's where their house was. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house in Puri was on that road of the Rath Yatra. And very soon after that, the baby was presented to Srila Jagannath, Sri Jagannath, during the Rath Yatra festival. So Guru Maharaj is saying that sound of the teachings of Mahaprabhu was playing in the ears of the people. And then that very same message took form to the eye in the form of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Nila Chalachandra, in the he was favored by the glance of Lord Jagannath. Haribo, and that Nayanamani, meaning the jewel of the eye. Haribo. Any question about that verse? And now number 5. Drawing up the pure golden waters of the Jambu River mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Jambu River is a river of nectar in the heavenly planets. And as it's flowing down the divine mountains that are made out of gold, it is the water is reacting with the sand on the sides of the river and turning them into jewels. So the whole of the sand of the Jambu River is just valuable gems. This is the heavenly planets. Drawing up the pure golden waters of the Jambu River mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, has this golden cloud arisen on the mountain where the golden moon Sri Chaitanya Chandra descended, just to shower down torrents of rain upon the whole countryside that was scorched by the forest fire of threefold sufferings, and then suddenly conceal himself in the dust of the land of the advent of Lord Gauranga? O Dinanayana, Wherever that great master may be now, please quickly take this servitor to that place. So a cloud draws up the water, right? From a body of water, and then pours that water. So here in this verse, Srila Guru Maharaj is comparing Srila Saraswati Thakur to a golden cloud, which has drawn up the pure waters, and then of the Jambu River, and then he took his birth where Mahaprabhu left. Mahaprabhu left in Jagannath Puri, and drawing up those waters, from comparing Mahaprabhu to the Jambu River, the golden Jambu River. He's taken those waters and he poured those waters down on the scorched world. And then he descended where Mahaprabhu had been born. So taking up those golden waters, he descended where Mahaprabhu was born. So Srila Saraswati Thakur made his advent just in the same place where Mahaprabhu left, and he left the world in Mayapur where Mahaprabhu had appeared. Hare Krishna. Very beautiful. Okay, so it's only 5 to 9. Oh, we can finish this. Maybe. This is verse number 6. He is of the same hue in color as Sri Gaura, and although he who sings the tidings of Sri Gaura is the natural guru of the whole universe, he accepted discipleship to a great devotee named Sri Gaur Kishore, the adolescent Gaur. In the whole Gaur Mandala, he is the repository of the glory of those who grant entrance into the fold of pure Gaudiya Vaishnavas. He proudly ascended the lofty throne of preaching the glories of the gift of the Golden Lord, Sri Gaura, the service of Sri Radha Govinda in Braja, to the Vaishnavas of Dravida, the devotees of South India, who are generally worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan. The glory of his dignity shines even in the group of Sri Gandharva. He's saying this is his actual position. And he holds a preeminent position in the intimate circle of Sri Giridhari. That is, he is the most beloved of Lord Mukunda. He is the most beloved of the Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. O Dinanayana, where that great soul is now, please swiftly take that servitor, this servitor there. He's not saying someday. He's saying now, quickly. Quickly I must go to where that great soul has gone. Akbar. You know, we're saying Akbar, at one time, or Ebar, this time. That this is the kind of prayers of these great souls. They're not saying, well, someday. It's like right now, quickly take me there. He is of the same color as Sri Gaura, Srila Saraswati Thakur, very golden kind of complexion, actually. And although he who sings the tidings, he who sings the message of Sri Gaura is the natural guru of the whole universe. Is that clear? Those who speak the messages of Mahaprabhu, they're the natural. There's no higher guru. He's naturally the guru of all gurus. he accepted the discipleship. He's the natural guru, but still, he became someone's disciple. This is a very good and important point. Whoever anyone is, they will become the disciple of someone. So he became the disciple of Sri Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, even though he's the natural guru of the whole world. In the whole of Gaura Mandala, he is the repository of the glory of those who grant entrance into the fold of pure Gaudiya Vaishnavas. He's saying in the whole of the place of Mahaprabhu, the divine place of Mahaprabhu, he is the treasure room, the treasure house of those who can give entrance into the fold of the pure Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They are getting their glory from him, in other words. Those who can save others and give them entrance into the pure Vaishnavas, into the group of the pure Vaishnavas, he is the repository for them. They are getting their mercy from him. He proudly ascended the lofty throne of what? Of preaching, of giving, of compassion, of giving the highest thing to anyone and everyone. That throne, that is the real dignified throne. That is the real noble position. And that's what he did with his life, with his divine life. He proudly ascended the lofty throne of preaching. And that's not proud of oneself. That is proud of one's Lord. That's where real pride lives. He had proudly ascended the lofty throne of preaching the glories of the gift of the golden Lord Sri Gaura, which is the service of Sri Radha Govinda and Braja. He announced it. This is what you need. And he preached that to the Vaishnavas of Dravida, which means South India, where everyone is worshipping. South India is like an ocean of religion. But they are worshippers in high, even like following Ramanujacharya and others. They are worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan. But he's even converting them to the service of Radha and Krishna. Easily showing them, actually, you can please the Lord more. The glory of his dignity shines even in the group of Sri Gandharva. Even among her servitors, his glory is very high. And that's not an exaggeration. This is something which can be understood. And he holds a preeminent position in the intimate circle of Sri Giridhari. That is, he is also the most beloved of Lord Mukunda. He is most beloved of both of them. O Dinanayana, where that great soul is now, please swiftly take this servitor there. That urgency we see in the great Vaishnavas. They're not like, yeah, well, I don't have much time today, but I don't know, next week maybe we can talk about it. It's like, it's like, now. Swiftly take this servitor to him. Where is he gone? You take me there. Jai Shri Shri Prapanna Jivanamrtan Ki Jai. Is the life nectar of the surrendered soul. Where are you going to hear about that? Nowhere? Nowhere. You don't hear about that. in Srimad Bhagavatam there's that Caitanya Charitamrita, and excellently in Sri Prapanna Jivanamrta and the books of our Guru Varga. Excellently. Mixed with nothing else. Hare Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Deva Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. The mind. Haribo. The mind is like a spoiled dog. Right? We've been indulging this dog, and now we're telling it, don't chew on that. And it's like, okay, chew on it then. And you gotta go, I'm gonna destroy you with the holy name, be careful. I'm not gonna destroy you. How do you, sorry. Excuse me. I think I'll do a short version of the Harira at this point because my voice is horrid. Hare Rama Krishna Yara Pari Pujakacharya Astatar Sati Shri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pari Pujakacharya Astatar Sati Shri Sriman Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Nardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Shri Laharidas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Shamananda Srinivas Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Svarshad Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Svarshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Ki Jai. Tanya Sakama Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya SCSMission Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Ekadashi Bhakti Ki Jai here in Salt Lake City. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev Jai Shri Guru Jai Mahaprabhu Shri Guru Shri Ki Jai. So fortunate to be able to read these things in the morning.
Srimati Lekha, Devi Ki.
Jai Gurudev Ki Jai.
There is Bhakti Boni, Bhima Krishna Prabhu, and Krishna Priya Devi.
Dandavat. Good morning. Thank you for giving us your association. Harimo. Finito?